in Happiness Beyond Thought, Gary Weber talks about number skipping. Please read this book. Very, very powerful. Number skipping is very challenging concentration meditation, but let's just start with simple, which is not so simple. It took me a while to be able to do it, which is to count from 1 to 10 while meditating and breathing. Counting 10 breaths in and out, it's a challenge. It can still be a challenge. Number skipping, next level. And so let's just start there. You go 1 to 10. One breath is 1. In, out, 2. Now, number skipping is breathing in on 1. This is how I do it anyway. Breathe in on 1, breathe out on 1, then breathe in with nothing represented in the mind. Breathe out with nothing represented in the mind. Then breathe in and allow yourself to count 3. Do that all the way up and all the way down. So you go up, allowing yourself to represent the odd numbers, down, allowing yourself to represent the even numbers. You're suppressing the representation of 1/2. And what's happening in that space? Well, ideally nothing. But it's very hard to get there. It took me a long time. Think of this, back to hypnosis, as the don't think of a red cat, right? This is a negation, it's called. Don't think of a red cat causes you to think of a red cat, in sales. Don't think about buying this right now because blah, blah. This is theoretically, by putting don't, you're making it more likely that they will think of that thing. So when you're trying to suppress the number 2, for example, it's going to be really hard because you're essentially saying to yourself, don't think of the number 2, and you need to represent the number 2 to give yourself the command to not represent it. But I didn't believe it was possible, but it is, and you can get there, and it's the most extraordinary accomplishment in your concentration and meditation. And it is the path to removing symbolism in your mind and having what's called PNSE, persistent non-symbolic experience, because that's what number skipping helps with, getting to non-symbolic experience. And I didn't think it was possible, but I'll never forget the first time that I was able to complete this number skipping exercise, and then later it led to sitting in the park and everything's gone. Didn't last very long, but man, it felt like forever. And it was amazing. It's just perfect stillness. And then that helped lay the foundation for a stillness that is deeper than before. And the ocean just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper the more that I practice. Really, really important. So I've got some more concentration meditations for you. Let's dive into the chat and see what's going on there. If you're joining us, let me know what's going on with you, where you're at. And let's start with Galfa Mail. Says, I have dyslexia. I hope one day your app will help me. Thank you so much. I'm a huge fan of Jordan Peterson, and I appreciate you a lot. The value you add and wisdom you spread is really impressive. Well, thanks for that, Galfa. Here's the old doctor himself with his old VIP pass. Got to shake the man's hand once upon a time. Have a little chat, ask him the critical questions that a guy like me needs to ask, and you better believe we talked about memory. All right. Thank you, Galfa. And I really appreciate you being here, and thank you for the kind words. Alexander says, I've been twirling pens in my hand sometimes, and I enjoy it because if I concentrate hard enough, I don't have to think about the pen, and I feel the limit of my neurons firing in my brain instead. Amazing. That sounds incredible. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. And I think twirling pens is a really amazing skill. Some people can do some amazing things with that, and there's some cool magic tricks you can do as well. Reclaiming Life says, I have recently bought both a unicycle and a slackline to add another level of challenge to movement meditations, increasing my focus and making it all more fun. Those sound like two amazing things. Is a slackline strong enough to actually get a unicycle up on it? I imagine so, if you had it tight enough. Amazing. That's definitely going to increase focus. And then I imagine if you do some recitation and some number skipping while you're doing that, all the better. Monst says, why am I just getting the notification for the live stream? I wish I knew the mysteries of why things work the way they do on the internet, Monst. I think if I did, we would have we'd have everybody using memory techniques by now if I was in control of those notifications. But thank you for being here. Really good to see you. Alexander says, when I first tried the skipping method in breathing meditation, I thought it'd never work, but with practice, it felt more and more effortless. Excellent. Austin says, I have Asperger's, and I'd like to just say thank you so much for all the content you put out. Well, thank you for being here, Austin, and for sharing that. And I don't know much about that condition. I have a friend who says he has Asperger's. He's one of the most creative and amazing people. If he'd never told me, I'd never know. He just seems like a great person. So, with my bipolar thing, for years I went around wearing the albatross of that thing. It's a dead, stinky corpse, the name bipolar or manic depression. And, it is what it is, and it was what it was. And, sometimes it's useful to still use that term and so forth. But one of the best things that happened to me in my life is I took the albatross off my neck and threw it back into the sea. To hell with it. I mean, it's not necessary, right? You're just a person at the end of the day. And I made a lot of music with my friend Colin, who says he has Asperger's, and he's a professor. He's a genius. He's such a genius. I don't see what Asperger's has to do with it, but, consider that with these concentration meditations we're talking about today, that idea is an object that appears in you, right? And ask just, where is it? To whom is this happening? And where is the mind to which it is happening? That can be very helpful. Now, not an alternative to seeking support and doctors, and maybe run that past the doctor first, because please do, actually, because we don't want to cause any issues. But I think that I wish I would have found books like this a long time before doctors got hold of me, because I can tell you, they put old Dr. Forget on me, and I didn't like that at all. All right, Reclaiming Life says, I hadn't even thought about the unicycle on the slack line. It would be strong enough, but I need to get them both down as their own individual skills before even considering combining them. Indeed. Yes, and please be safe. Month says, I have exams in 2 weeks. What's the best advice you can give me for studying? We got a similar question. We're going to get to that at the end, Month. Thanks for that question.